Here we have a pre-owned 2013 Acura RDX. This one comes with the Tech Package. This color is white diamond pearl, and then we have parchment perforated leather interior. And for the powertrain, we get a 273 horsepower, 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, made it to a 6-speed automatic transmission. But as we come around to the front end here, we have our high intensity discharge headlamps along with housing fog lights. And I love how it has that same sleek design as the sedans do, the TL, TSX. Down here we have 18-inch wheels. We get passive keyless entry on the front doors. Memory seat functions are here. To do that, you just hit set. They'll light up and then you can click which one you want to set it to. Then we have power windows, one-touch automatic up and down for the front. Power door lock controls are here, rear window lock there, and then we can pick a side for our power mirrors, lock them out there, and we can adjust the mirrors using that little dial. Bottle holder in here, a little bit more storage, and then this is for our lift gate. And then we can pop the gas cap here, pop the hood there, and then we have an emergency brake left pedal there. You can pull this up here to adjust the steering wheel, which tilt and telescopes. And then here we have our power driver's seat with power lumbar support. But I have that seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs. So I'm gonna see how I could sit behind myself in the second row. So not terrible room. My knees are just barely touching the back of the seat. And what's good is it's kind of cushy up here. So if you do need to have your knees back here, it's not protruding on the driver, and it's also, again, not super uncomfortable. But we have seat back pockets behind both seats. Little storage pocket here. It's a view of the front from back here. And then our middle seat folds down, and we have cup holders there. And we have our map lights in the back. We can set that to the door or off. And then over here, we have our grab handle and then a hook to hang 2 or 3 hangers if you need to hang our shirts up. We're making our way towards the back. Gas cap is here. And then it does recommend you that you run that premium, of course, to get the maximum horsepower output. But as we come around to the back here, just a couple of scratches and nicks, probably where the tailgate or lift gate hit the top of the garage or bottom of the garage or something like that. And then tons of space behind the second row. And the spare tire is right underneath there if you ever need it. We do get the ELS surround sound system, so I believe this is the subwoofer for that. And we can fold our seats flat. And I'll show you how to get that back up here momentarily. But hit that button to close it. And then underneath the vehicle, we do have our exhaust system. I like how they integrated that so well into the bumper. But as we come around the rear passenger side, we can fold this up pretty easily. And then, I don't even know, the lower anchors are kind of hidden in here if you need that for the car seat. And then you can also fold the seat back and forth using that. But front passenger seat, that's gonna be power. But I love the parchment leather, it looks super nice. And then there's our glove compartment, pretty good size, and then owner's manual's there. Can lock that. But coming back around to the front, let's go ahead and pop the hood. And there's the 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, which is mostly covered up. But now let's hop back in the driver's seat. So we get a nice leather wrap steering wheel here. It's held up pretty nicely to have just over 70,000 miles on it. Looks like maybe some makeup around the steering wheel here that could be cleaned off. And a couple nicks, but for the most part, still pretty good shape. Over here, this is going to be the top screen for our navigation, and then as we go deep into certain functions, so audio here, I can scroll through the menu, hit sound setup. You can adjust your bass and treble through there. So pretty easy system to use with this knob down here, which I'll show you in a second. But I can scroll through my presets and all of that if I need to. But for the most part, that's just for stuff that it's mostly for the navigation screen. And then of course, the backup camera here, because your audio you can see down here. But again, I'll show you more about that in a second. And there's the backup camera guidelines. Now you do have a DVD player in here. And then down below, we have our audio controls, which are always up along with our AC. So we can adjust the temperature using the knob down here, and it'll adjust, close the sunroof to get that glare. And then we can adjust the passenger side here, and of course sync up by hitting that button down below. And then this is volume, you can mute there. And then we have our sound settings, again, we can adjust here instead of having to go through the screen. So I like how everything is either a button here for the most part other than the navigation, but then you can also use the screen too. And then we have an aux input, Bluetooth audio.
No music is stored on the HD.
And a USB port as well. And then presets are here. We can toggle between FM, AM, XM. So it's a pretty neat system, and it sounds really good. But we can go through our station and all of that there as well. Let's see if I can go back to show that. And then you can actually scan here and turn that off by hitting the button again. Go through your categories, which is this is pretty neat, especially for XM. I can go to my R&B stations, hip hop stations, I go to my dance stations, country, and then it kind of toggles through where all those stations are because they're usually all together. So if I like to listen to hip hop, I like to be able to just go in there and then start at 43, go through 48, and if I don't hear anything there, go to the country stations or whatever. And then you can type in your destination here if you need to use your nav for whatever reason. Back button here, and this is actually pretty intuitive once you get used to it, how it scrolls, and you can use the enter button.
No phone is connected.
And pretty easy to connect your Bluetooth.
Would you like to select the phone to connect?
You can just scroll over there, and then it'll walk you through it. But again, climate controls are here, fan speed, defrosters, mirrors, all of that here. Auto mode, turn that off for just fan speed, and you can cut the whole system off too. But there's a 12 volt aux input, and then this is the USB here. That one's hardwired in. And you can open and shut that. And then to shift the 6-speed, pull the lever, reverse, neutral, drive, and then you have your sport mode, and you can manually shift in the sport mode using the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. Then you have your 2-stage heated seats for the driver, front passenger here, cup holders, center console cubby space, which is a pretty good size, and then you have a removable tray as well, another 12 volt down in there. And then up here we have our dome lights, and I love that these are LED, it looks super nice. And then we have our garage door transmitter here. Sunglasses holder, slide this back, and then we can either tilt or we can one touch slide it, and it slides back pretty quickly. And I like that it goes all the way back too. And then you can one touch close it as well. But there's a view of the back from up here. Back to the steering wheel, turn signals are here. We can adjust our fog lights on and off there. Headlamps here. We have our auto headlamps too. When they're all the way on, high beams, and we can flash right there. And then windshield wiper controls, one time, intermittent, low, high, and we can adjust our intermittent wipers here. And then we have our rear wiper right here, on, intermittent, off, and then either one of these will give you the rear wiper fluid, and then pushed up here for the front wiper fluid. Now to the left side of the steering wheel, we can go through our sources here for the audio, and then we have volume controls. We can go through our radio station presets or track list there. Bluetooth controls are here. And then we have voice recognition, back button, And this is for the screen there. And then we can go through our gauge cluster using these buttons, and then we can toggle the trips using the select button down in that bottom right corner. So we can see range and all that. And then cruise controls are here. Turn that on, cancel, and then you can set, resume. Here's our push button start. And finally, here's the key fob. But next, we're gonna go ahead and take this Acura RDX out on the road for a test drive. Starting the test drive in the 13 Acura RDX, the 6-speed shifts pretty seamlessly. One thing I love about this vehicle, and having that high output V6, it's actually pretty peppy. But I'm gonna see how quickly it shifts in the sport mode. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of space because nobody's behind me. I love how quick the shifts are. Downshifts and upshifts. Now the upshifts are actually, at least to me, they seem a bit quicker, but this isn't really a true manual mode. But all in all, love the ride quality so far. I'm gonna put it in the drive and then I'm gonna punch it. Yeah, pretty quick, especially for it to be going from 60 to about 80. Pretty impressive. Now the cruise engaged here about 71, 72. And for the most part, not hearing anything out of the ordinary. And the ride is pretty good. Now I'm hearing a little something rattling. I don't know what that is, but for the most part, pretty impressive ride down the interstate there. And the suspension here is super smooth for this kind of vehicle, in my opinion. And for this to be a small SUV, it actually drives pretty sporty. We'll give it some throttle again here. I like how peppy the vehicle is, and I also like that when you're not giving it throttle, it tends to be pretty tame. And this has pretty good steering feel. It's just a little loose for me, but it does have that kind of CRV steering feel. So if you're wanting a luxurious Honda CRV, then that's what you have here. But I just like how upgraded the tech is compared to the 13 CRVs around this time. The powertrain is fantastic. And with it being a luxury Honda, it'll probably last you quite some time. And I think this one right now is only 18 or 19,000. And a big shout out to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this vehicle. That's who's selling it. But to me, especially if you plan on keeping this car for the next 10, 15 years, a pretty good price point, because you have your Bluetooth audio, you have your backup camera, sunroof, heated seats, and honestly a great driving SUV if you are in the market for something like a RAV4, a CRV, an Equinox, but you want something that's luxurious at the same time. And again, having that ELS surround sound system is a big plus. Love the navigation. And just everything that comes with this RDX. I love how this one in particular is optioned out. Having that tech package is a must, in my opinion. but seems to still have tons of life left in it. Drives like a new vehicle in my opinion. So if you're looking for something like this, definitely make sure you take a look at the 2013 Acura RDX.